The jersey number for every player on the 2023 West Virginia football roster has officially been revealed. Let's go. What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Jordan Cruz back here with the Country Roads Webcast. And before I get into this video, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Giving us a like on this video will help not only its performance, but future videos performances here on the channel as well. And if you're a West Virginia fan, be sure hit that subscribe button. Helps us and it helps you, as it helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, let's get into it. All right, as I mentioned in the cold open, the jersey numbers for every player on this year's West Virginia football roster have now been revealed with the release of the team's digital media guide, which you can find over on WVUsports.com, as we're going to roll through in numerical order as you see on the screen here. But I'll try and note the changes of players that, change numbers from last season to this season. Then, of course, newcomers as well. Try and note them as we roll through here. But let's roll through here numerically and talk about the jersey numbers of the West Virginia Mountaineers for the upcoming season. Try and get through this as briskly as possible. Jalen Anderson kicking things off, switching over from number 28, which we saw him wear last season. He's a running back you guys know I'm very excited about. He's switching to number 0 this season. Going to be wearing that on offense. And then on defense, we'll be seeing Montre Miller wear number 0. And he's another player that I've been singing his praises throughout this offseason. One of my favorite transfers in for West Virginia. I think he's got great potential to really help West Virginia at the cornerback spot. He'll be wearing number 0 on defense. And then a couple of number changes here as well, as 2 players that'll be wearing number 1. On offense, wearing number 1, we'll see Jeremiah Aaron, the junior college wide receiver we saw come in last season. He wore number 4 last year. This year, you'll see him wear number 1, and I think you'll see him get a lot more playing time this upcoming season. And then a fan favorite already from last season, now coming into this season as one of the de facto leaders of the defense and maybe the entire team in general, playing that Mike linebacker position, Lee Koba. We're expecting big things from him, and he will not be wearing number 8 this season like we saw him wear last year. He'll be switching over to number 1. So hopefully number 1 in your program and number 1 in your hearts as well, maybe. But then moving on, number 2, still Aubrey Burks. Sung his praises a ton throughout this offseason as well. Highest graded safety returning in the Big 12 Conference according to PFF, and one of the top ones in the entire country. And then another fan favorite already just now stepping onto campus, one of the highest rated recruits in WVU football history on the offensive side, wearing number 2, will be Rodney Gallagher, and we're hoping to see him get some playing time at the wide receiver position. Then number 3 on offense, we'll see Jashawn Polk, another transfer in from Kent State that will help West Virginia, I think, in a kick return role, and also see some snaps there at wide receiver. He'll be wearing number 3 on offense. And then on defense, the transfer in at the defensive end position, Tomiwa Durje, will be wearing number 3 for the defense. And then here is another number change. And this is, of course, if you're talking fan favorites, this one might be top of the list after the way that he came in and really exploded on the scene with the game against the rival Spit, and we're hoping to see him replicate that in Morgantown this season. This is a guy that has the potential to be one of the best backs in the entire Big 12 Conference, if not the nation. Of course, I'm talking about C.J. Donaldson. Last season, we saw him wear number 12. This season, he's switching over and will be wearing number 4 for the Mountaineers. And then also on offense, I think West Virginia's wide receiver number 1, we've talked about it being Devin Carter, so look out for number 5 on the field as West Virginia's go-to pass catcher at the wide receiver position. And on defense, of course, Lance Dixon will still be wearing that number 5. Moving on, number 6 on offense, of course, Garrett Green. Many believe he could end up as the Mountaineers starting quarterback. We'll see how that pans out. And then on defense, Jacoby Spells switching over to number 6 this season. And of course, he is a guy that was one of the highest rated recruits in the recruiting class last year for West Virginia. Hoping to see him take on a bigger role at the cornerback position and hoping for big things throughout his future. And he will be competing with another cornerback there that is a youngster that is kind of coming into his own, and that's Andrew Wilson-Lamp, and he'll be wearing number 7 on defense. Then you get another transfer in here in Tyron Bradley, who will be wearing number 8 at the bandit position, coming from Abilene Christian, and I think He has great potential for the Mountaineers as a pass rusher there. And then, of course, Nico Marchio in the quarterback battle for Garrett Green will be wearing number 8 on offense. Then we move on to number 10, where Jarrett Bartlett will return to wear that number yet again at the bandit position. Seems like he's been around forever. But on offense, we get a number change. Jarrell Williams, who will be a redshirt freshman for the Mountaineers, fighting for playing time at the inside receiver spot. He'll be wearing number 10 there. And then on to number 11, where Cortez Braham will return to wear that again for the offense. But on defense, we'll see the transfer in from Minnesota, Beanie Bishop, wearing number 11. And he's going to factor in at the cornerback position for West Virginia, and I think has a great chance to end up as the starting nickel corner for the Mountaineers. And then number 12 on this year's squad, you only got one on defense, and it's a transfer in that I'm really excited about as well. Anthony Wilson at the safety position. And then the two number 13s, of course, Hershey McLaurin wearing that number again this year for the Mountaineers on defense at the spear position. And on offense, you get another transfer in, this one coming from Marshall, and E.J. Horton at the wide receiver position will be wearing number 13 on the offensive side. Malachi Ruffin returning to the defensive backfield to compete at the cornerback spot will be wearing number 14 yet again in his final season with the Mountaineers. And then number 15 will be true freshman Ben Cutter on defense, looking for playing time there at that will linebacker spot, one of the remaining questions on the West Virginia defense. And then you get Noah Massey on offense, wearing number 15, as he will be competing on the inside as well, it seems, listed as a slot receiver in the West Virginia initial depth chart. Big body transfer coming over from Angelo State, 6'4", 230+ pounds. So look out for him this year coming in for the Mountaineers, coming up from the Division II level. And then number 16, Sean Boyle, the only other scholarship quarterback on the roster for the Mountaineers besides Garrett Green and Nico. And then progressing here to number 18, which on defense will be Tyreek Austin Cave. Transferred in from Miami last season, didn't get as much playing time as I expected and hoped that he would. Hoping to see that change this season. And then on offense, Traylon Ray, one of the 4-star additions to the West Virginia class in 2023, joins the Mountaineers as a true freshman competing at the wide receiver position. And then number 19, Trey Lathan, back again competing at that aforementioned will linebacker position. He's in the mix to try and start there this season as a redshirt freshman for the Mountaineers. And of course, Grayson Malashevich, the former walk-on, now not only a scholarship player, but in the mix to be a starting slot receiver for the Mountaineers this upcoming season, also wearing number 19 on offense. Then number 20, we get a true freshman running back just recently onto campus for West Virginia in DJ Oliver. Similar body type to a CJ Donaldson, but probably even faster than CJ. So really excited about DJ Oliver coming in from Florida and his potential for the future. And then at number 22, we get one of his cohorts on the offensive side, Jaheim White. We saw him play in the spring game, actually led the West Virginia offense in rushing during the spring game. He's going to find a role in some way to factor in to this loaded West Virginia backfield this season. He's just something different. Home run capability, great speed, brings something else to the table. I'm fully expecting him to play on offense. And then on the defensive side, you get Josiah Jackson as a corner wearing 22. And then, of course, special teams wise, the transfer in Michael Hayes, going to be the kickoff specialist, also competing to be the field goal kicker. We'll share that number as well. And then number 23, the Michael Jordan number, if you will, given to Keyshawn Cobb, who I'm really excited about at the safety position, coming in from Buffalo as well. Another transfer in for the Mountaineers. Number 24, yet again, Marcus Floyd, returning for one final season for the Mountaineers, competing at the cat safety position. And then number 25, you get Jordan Jackson, brother of the aforementioned Josiah Jackson, both freshman corners for the Mountaineers this upcoming season, hoping to be contributors down the line in years to come. Another weapon in that deep West Virginia running back room, Justin Johnson, retaining number 26 for the upcoming season. Davis Mallinger will be wearing number 27 as he shifts over to the wide receiver position from playing defense during his freshman season last year. Aiden Nelson, a freshman safety for West Virginia, will be wearing 28. Preston Fox, yet again wearing number 29 for the offense this season, hoping to see him get on the field a little bit more, and I think you certainly will see that. And then number 30 will be shared on defense by Braden Dudley, competing at the bandit position. And then on offense, you get the preferred walk-on Judah Price, an in-state running back with a ton of potential, who will be sharing that number with Dudley. Number 31 will be Christian Stokes at the safety position. Raleigh Collins, one of the Spears competing for West Virginia, who I think has a high ceiling, and he will be wearing number 32. And then you get the third player that will be competing at that will linebacker position. We talked about Ben Cutter and Trey Lathan a little bit earlier. The other player that's factoring into that competition with those two is Jairo Faveras, one of West Virginia's international players. Came in as more of a defensive back, has transitioned into more of a linebacker, and he looked really good in the spring. Then number 34 will be Luke Hamilton, a preferred walk-on that's joined the Mountaineers, coming in as an FCS All-American at the fullback position. So excited to see how West Virginia uses him as he shares number 34 with Avery Wilcox on defense. And then number 36 will be shared by Noah Braham, a legacy player coming in as a freshman on the offense, tight end / fullback role. And then on defense, Caden Beiser, who's really helped West Virginia and provided solid reps at the Mike linebacker spot, back again this season wearing that on defense. Moving right along here to number 39, which will be Danny King, a former preferred walk-on who is competing to be the field goal kicker for West Virginia this upcoming season, with the aforementioned Michael Hayes there. And then number 40 will be Josiah Trotter, of course, son of Jeremiah Trotter, NFL great. High hopes for his future in Morgantown. Think he would have seen a lot of playing time this season, but we know will be out this year after suffering a knee injury during the spring, but high hopes for the future for him once he gets back from that. He'll be number 40 when he comes back. And number 41, of course, will be Oliver Strahl. Started as the punter for West Virginia last season as a true freshman coming in from Australia. Going to lock onto that role again this season and hopefully improve and continue a great trajectory that he's on, I think. And snapping the ball to him will be West Virginia scholarship long snapper Alston Brinkman, wearing number 43, a number that he will share with Colin McBee, a preferred walk-on running back for the Mountaineers. And then you get Orion Fisher, a true freshman defensive lineman, wearing number 44. Also along the defensive line, Torres Simmons, wearing number 45. Anthony Del Negro, a special teams dynamo that we covered in a video last offseason. You saw him make some plays for the Mountaineers in that area last year, returning for one more season wearing number 47. And now we get into the trenches a little bit. A lot of these remaining the same. Brandon Yates still wearing number 50. Nick Cray, a freshman offensive lineman, wearing 52. And then Corey McIntyre Jr., a legacy player, wearing 52 on defense. Zach Frazier retains number 54, one of the best centers in the entire country and one of the best offensive linemen, period, in my opinion. He'll share 54 this year with Fatorma Mulbo, the defensive line transfer with 4 years of eligibility remaining. And then taking over number 55 on the defensive line, guys, watch out for Day Hawkins. I think he's going to really surprise people and have a big year for the Mountaineers. He'll share 55 with Thomas Remick, returning to start on the West Virginia offensive line this year after being a freshman All-American last season. Then you get number 56, James Hurd, at the bandit position. Talked about him a ton. Think he's the best pure pass rusher Neil Brown and company have brought in. He'll share that number with Soley Weedman, who will be a reserve West Virginia offensive lineman. Number 58 will be Nick Malone, a former preferred walk-on who has a great chance to be in the 2 deep for West Virginia on the offensive line this year. Then you get true freshman Johnny Williams wearing number 60 on the offensive line. Bryce Biggs, the preferred walk-on, wearing number 63. And another true freshman, Cooper Young, in the trenches there, wearing number 64. Still on the offensive line here, Jaquay Hubbard retaining number 66 as he continues to compete for that starting right guard position this upcoming season for the Mountaineers. Landon Livingston, a center of the future for West Virginia, I do believe will be wearing number 67. Big Mo Hamilton, shout out to Maurice Hamilton. I think he has a bright future for the Mountaineers on the offensive line. He's wearing number 71. Doug Nestor returning for one final season, still wearing number 72. But on the opposite tackle side, you get Wyatt Milam now wearing number 74. And then rounding out the offensive line numbers here through the 60s and 70s, you get Charlie Katarinchik wearing number 76 this season, and I think he'll work as a reserve lineman on the interior for the Mountaineers. Now we get 3 straight tight ends right here. TJ Johnson, the legacy player, son of Torrey Johnson, coming in as a tight end / fullback for the Mountaineers, wearing number 80 as a freshman this year. Traylon Davis, the tight end who will probably see the most playing time alongside Cole Taylor, will be wearing number 81. And then Victor Wickstrom, one of West Virginia's international players there, hoping to get into the mix at tight end, wearing number 82. Then you get a couple preferred walk-on wide receivers in CJ Cole, who will be wearing number 83, and Hudson Clement, who I think has a ton of potential, wearing number 84. And then I think what will be West Virginia's maybe secondary pass option at the tight end position behind Cole Taylor. I mentioned Traylon Davis. I think we'll see the most playing time, but I see him more as a blocker, whereas Will Dixon, I think the staff believes him to be more of a pass-catching option, reclassified, came in early last season, hoping to get involved more this year, and I think that he will a little bit throughout this season. He'll be 86 on this team. And then, of course, the aforementioned Cole Taylor. I mentioned Devin Carter earlier being the go-to option in the pass-catching game, but that's just at the wide receiver position. I think who will be West Virginia's go-to altogether is a toss-up between Devin Carter and Cole Taylor, the 6'7" tight end coming in from LSU. Watch out for number 87 this season in the West Virginia passing game. And then rounding this out here as we move into the 90s. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. Tried to move through this as quickly as possible, but wanted to touch on everything and not leave any stone unturned, so to speak. And hopefully you guys have been following along on the screen, as I haven't mentioned every preferred walk-on on the West Virginia roster. Just trying to mention players that I think you'll see this upcoming season. But of course, number 91, one of the leaders of the defense, in my opinion, for this upcoming season. You saw him attend Big 12 Media Days with the other Mountaineers there on the defense. I've talked about having a solid player at each level. We've talked about the one in the secondary, Aubrey Burks. We talked about the one at the linebacker core, Lee Koba, switching over to number 1 this season. And then, of course, on the defensive line, Bluefield Zone, same alma mater as me, Bluefield High School, number 91, Sean Martin. And then number 92 will be Asani Redwood, a defensive lineman with a ton of potential I'm hoping to finally see get in the mix this year. And then Mike Lockhart keeping number 93, and he has a great chance to end up as a starting defensive lineman for the Mountaineers this upcoming season. He'll be competing with Hammond Russell along that defensive line, who keeps number 94. Then you get one of the freshmen in Zachariah Keith on that defensive line wearing number 95. Eddie V retaining number 96. High hopes for him there in the trenches on that defensive side as well. Another legacy player for the Mountaineers, son of John Thornton, Jalen Thornton, switching over to number 97 this year after rocking 52 last year. And I think you'll see him get involved in that defensive line mix this season as well. Then you get a preferred walk-on in Leighton Bechdel, who is the backup long snapper and punter for the Mountaineers this upcoming season. And then rounding it out with Zakai Lawton, a player originally hailing from the state of West Virginia, went to Cincinnati originally out of high school, but found his way back home to the Mountain State. Will be wearing number 99 for the Mountaineers this upcoming season, and I think factors into a slew of players who you've heard me mention have a great chance to contribute along that defensive line. I think West Virginia has a ton of bodies, and he's got as good a chance of any to factor in there. But there you have it, from 0 all the way through 99. There's all the jersey numbers for every WVU football player for the 2023 season. So there you have it, Mountaineer Nation. Apologies for that being a little bit more lengthy than I had planned, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight into jersey number changes and jersey numbers for the incoming Mountaineers. But who on that list are you excited to see for the upcoming season, or how are you feeling about any of these jersey numbers? We always appreciate those interactions, so be sure to drop your thoughts down there in the comments. It really helps us as we continue to try and grow the Country Roads Webcast community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.